Howdy gamers, Old Gamer Guy here. Welcome to another Stellaris Console Edition video. Yes, I finally finished my game with the Screk entity. I played so poorly and I was knocked out of the game so early, but I continued on in observer mode, and immediately on the map I could see that there were 3 new empires that I didn't know about previously. All 3 of these are fallen empires. None of them are awakened at this point, although one of them will awaken before the end of the game. And you can see the League of Faux has taken over the Screk space because they conquered us. This video is about 24 hours of gameplay edited down to about 15 minutes, so hopefully you can see why it took me so long to get this done. I was only able to play for 5 or 10 years at a time, so it took forever to get through, but I'm finally done with it. I'm glad we can finally take a look at the epilogue for the Screk entity, but there is something right here that I would like explained if somebody could do it. The faux show have our space, and then suddenly they don't. So if somebody could explain that to me, somebody who is more knowledgeable about the game, I would be very grateful. But never mind that. We have wars to chronicle. And first up, we have the League of Faux along with the Autocracy of Calamar versus the Galactic League. The Galactic League at this point is the Cloud, the Ceralan, the Kelzen, the Terrans, the Cannabinoids, and the Jackass. So this is 2 empires versus 6, and so you can kind of guess how this is going to turn out. Although the Faux did pretty well at the beginning of this war, they ended up taking the worst of it. And they lost some space right there, and then all of a sudden there is a new empire, the Bothrian Divine Mandate. The Bothrians are the race that make up the League of Faux, so this system has split off from the League of Faux, and I believe they are now an associate of the Galactic League, or at least they eventually become an associate of the Galactic League. Next up, we have the Derp Coalition and the Hierarchy of Bok versus the Galactic League. And once again, this is a 2 versus 6 situation. But the Derp have a fairly formidable fleet. And the Bok also have a formidable fleet. And so against all odds, the 2 empires actually get a victory here against 6 empires. There's a Jackass fleet there in the upper left-hand corner who probably could have taken on this Derp fleet here and maybe done some damage, but they didn't seem to want any part of it at the time. And the Hierarchy of Bok gains a bunch of space out of this conflict, and they very nearly wiped out the Kelzen Stellar Republic, but the Kelzen are still hanging on there. Next up, we have the Calamari and the Bok versus the Galactic League. The Bok seem to be the most antagonistic out of all of these empires. So once again, it is 2 versus 6. And this time there is really no discernible result. The map didn't really change after this war. And shortly afterward, after the truce, they did the same thing again. The Calamari and the Bok versus the Galactic League, and once again, there was no result. Now there is a new federation called the Beneficial Compact, which is the Derp Coalition and the Calamari. And the Bok have gone to war against the Faux Show. This is a really bad deal for the Faux Show because the Bok are easily the stronger of the two. And the Bok roll over the Faux Show fairly easily. And apparently they're using strobe lights to confuse the Faux Show. Actually, that's a graphical glitch, I think. But either way, whatever technology they use against the Faux Show, they roll over them. And there they are bombarding one of their planets. The Bok was looking very tough at this point in the game, and they stayed tough for most of the game, actually. But you can see in this war, the Faux Show, the empire of the Faux Show, is now completely gone. The Bothrians still exist. They're still called the Bothrian Divine Mandate here, but they eventually changed their name to the Bothrian Polity. And once again, the Bok go to war with the Galactic League and the Bothrians. This is the Bok all by themselves. This is how antagonistic they are. And they pay for it in this war. They lose a bunch of space. But they don't seem to mind, because when the truce is over, they do the same thing again. They declare war against the Galactic League and the Bothrians. The Bothrians are now called the Bothrian Polity. And once again, the Bok get the slap and lose a bunch of space. But not long after that war ended, like almost immediately, the Beneficial Compact declared war against the Galactic League. I don't think it was the other way around, but I'm not really sure. It's hard to tell when you're in observer mode. You lose most of the functioning of the menu, and you don't get notifications like you do when you're playing. But the Beneficial Compact lose this war, and in particular the Derp lose some space, and suddenly there is another new empire, which is also made up of Derp, but now they are an associate of the Galactic League as well, I believe. And now suddenly there is a new federation in the galaxy called the Stellar League, but it's a very weak federation. It's made up of the Bok Sovereign Sons and the Bothrian Polity. It seems ill-advised for them to go against the Galactic League, or at least not be part of it. And they promptly lose this war, and the hierarchy of Bok regains some of their space. And then the Beneficial Compact once again goes to war with the Galactic League. And this war goes on for a while, but when it ends, there is really no discernible result on the map. But then, once again, when the truce is over, the same thing happens. The Compact against the Galactic League. Which I believe at this point is now 7 empires. So it's 7-3, I think. And this time the Galactic League wins, and the Calamar lose some space. And now at this point in the game, the slumbering fallen empire, the Dorbalan Watchers, awaken and become the Dorbalan Crusaders. And they go to war with another fallen empire called the Equinian Conservers. It's really kind of a one-sided war. The Dorbalan make it all the way over here to the Beacon of Infinity on the other side of the galaxy. They've got a fleet of 195K. The Equinians have a fleet that just warped in behind the Dorbalan. Which is about 114K at this point. And then I believe also the Beacon of Infinity is taking some shots as well at the Dorbalan, I think. Or maybe they're not. It looks like they may be out of range here. But the two fleets go at it. I don't really know what caused this war. But at the end of it, it didn't really look like anybody gained any space. They just fought for a while. And the Crusaders, the Dorbalan Crusaders, came out on top in this battle here. But then when the war ended, that was just kind of it. The Dorbalan went back to their space, and the Equinians just stayed in their space. And neither one of them was much of a factor for the rest of the game, even though you could still see some of their fleets moving around at times, but they didn't really do anything. But we got to see this one big battle here. At times, my PS4 Pro had trouble keeping up with the action on screen. I'm very curious to see if the PS5 will run this game, since it's supposed to be backwards compatible. And I'm curious to see what kind of performance I'll get at that point. But PS4 has several very cool looking games on the horizon this year, so I don't need to worry about that just yet. I just know already that I want a PS5, and I definitely want a PSVR 2 whenever that releases. But this has been a good generation. This has been a really fun generation for consoles. But back to this galaxy here, and there were several other wars between the Beneficial Compact and the Galactic League, but I went ahead and skipped to the very last one. This is the final war in the year 2615. And at this point, the Galactic League has 7 empires. The Beneficial Compact has 3. So you can kind of guess which way this goes. You can tell that the Serene Cannabinoids have a lot of space over there on the right side of the galaxy, and the Jackass have a huge amount of space. They are the single biggest empire, I think. The Calamari obviously did well for themselves. Just about everybody did well for themselves except the Screk. The Screk were the only ones, the only species that was completely wiped out of the game. I'm very proud. But this war went on for a while to its inevitable conclusion, and the Galactic League won a Federation victory, owning 60% of all habitable planets. So that will do it for the Screk Epilogue, and that will do it for Stellaris Console Edition for a little while. I will definitely play some more games and make some more series. I may play as the Cannabinoids next. I may play as the Terrans. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to try to learn a little bit about the game and get better at it before I start another series, but there will be another series, rest assured. But for now, thanks very much for watching this one.